Hi, I'm Michael Lawrence, Southland, trainer and driver. Today, we are going to review how to conduct a pre-trip inspection on your school bus. As a professional Southland school bus driver, a pre-trip inspection is mandatory and it's your first responsibility before starting your route. Remember, our goal is to transport our passengers and ourselves safely home. A school bus is a large vehicle, so where do you begin your pre-trip inspection? You begin right here in front of the school bus. Okay, first things first, in the morning you're going to be checking under the bus for any visual leaks that could have happened overnight. You're going to check for any damage on the front of the bus visually, and then you're going to go into the bus and do the next steps. Once you sit in your seat, you're going to be checking your booster brake. You're going to press it 3 times. Make sure that works. And then check your steering wheel. Make sure it's nice and firm, it's not loose. And check your horn. Using your horn may not be permitted in certain yards, so check with your yard supervisor. Now you're going to take your tissue paper. You're going to undo the hood, the latches here. Again, make sure you don't hurt your back. You want to check the fan belt, make sure there are no cracks on it visually. You want to check the fan and make sure it's not missing any blades. You're checking your hoses, there are no cracks in them, your wires, and all the clamps that are in place. Your air filter, it's nice and clean, and your windshield washer fluid container, which is right there. You're going to check the leaf spring, the U-bolts, the shock absorber for any leaks, the cross member. You're going to check your brake lines, which is very critical in this case. Make sure there are no leaks, as well as also the inside of the tire for any bulges or cracks. And you're going to check the other side. On this side here, you're going to check your other fluids. We'll start with the coolant. The level is nice and high there, so you don't have to worry. You're checking your power steering level. It's on the max, which is good. You're checking your brake fluid level as well. And then you're going to check your oil. You want to make sure it's minimum or maximum. So maximum is right there. So we are fine right now. This is your transmission fluid dipstick. You're going to pull it out, and all you're making sure is it's nice and pink. As you know, then there is fluid in the transmission. And then put it back. And now you're going to do the inspection of the engine from this side. All your wires are connected and secured. Your hoses are secured as well. Your caps are all on, nice and tight. Also, you're going to check your leaf springs on this side, the U-clamps, the steering wheel mechanism, make sure it turns and it's connected. You're going to check the inside of the tire, your brake line, make sure there are no leaks around the brake line. And once that's done and you're satisfied, you're going to be closing the hood. Nice and gentle, without hurting your back. And you're going to secure the hood by the latches. Now that you're sitting down, you're going to be starting up the bus. You're going to make sure the glow plug goes off, as you can see. Once it goes off, you can start your bus. And then you're going to close the door. Make sure the door is closed, as now you would want to turn on your alternating flashers. So you can check them now in the crossover mirrors, make sure they are working. You're going to turn on your headlights. You're going to turn on your hazard lights. You're going to turn on the strobe. And you're going to turn on the brake lights. So in this case, we're going to be using our ice scraper. We're going to be securing it to the brake pedal, depressing the brake pedal, and securing it to the seat. I'm going to move out from the way and you can see how it's done. Now that all your lights are on, you're going to be opening the door and making sure your alternating reds come on. Your stop arm is out and your cross arm is out as well. Right now, we are going to be checking the steps, the handrails, which are secured, your stepwell light, your steps are clean, and of course the broom. There's one on every bus. It is an important tool and an important part of your pre-trip, so don't lose it. We're going to close the door and make sure the seal works. You're going to be checking your mirror. It's secured and clean. And then you're going to do the tire inspection. You're going to check the tire pressure, the springs, front and back. Then you're going to check the mud flap. You're also going to be checking the tread depth of the tire, the exterior wall of the tire for any bulges or cracks. You're also going to be checking the rim for any cracks. Also, you're going to be checking the lug nuts. Make sure they are secured and you can't see any shiny material. Also, the hubcap for any leaks, as well as also the valve stem and cover. Now we're going to check our crossover mirror. Make sure that is secured. You're going to push the cross arm and make sure it comes out nice and slow. And while you stand in front of the bus, you're going to start from top to bottom, left to right. So you start right on top of the bus is the antenna. You have the 3 clearance lights. The school bus sign is nice and visible. You have your alternating reds. Your windshield is nice and clean and there are no cracks on it. Your wipers are good. Your hazards are good. Your headlights are working, as well as your pick plate. And now that the bus is running, we would like to go under the bus to make sure there are no leaks. You're going to proceed this side, make sure the cross arm works. Make sure the cross mirror is working and it's secured and in place. You're going to check the tire pressure, the leaf springs, front and back. You want to make sure you don't hear any clangy noise. Check the mud flap. You're going to be checking the tread depth, the exterior wall of the tire for any bulges or cracks, the rim as well for any cracks. Your lug nuts, make sure they are secured tight and you can't see any shiny material around. Also the hubcap for any leaks, as well as you will check your valve stem and cover. While you're proceeding this side, you're going to check the mirror, it's secured. The driver's window opens and closes. You're going to push the stop arm and make sure it comes out, checking the lights that they are working on it. You're going to open the battery compartment. You're going to make sure it is secured and check the terminals for any corrosion. So they should be clean and secured. You're going to open the wiring compartment and the fuses, make sure everything's intact and there's no loose wires in there. We're going to do a quick visual inspection of the bus for any damage. Make sure your hazard's working, and then you check the reflector tape on all sides of the bus, as well as your clearance lights on top of the bus. Now you're going to look under the bus. Underneath the bus, you're going to be looking at the 4 U-hangers. You got 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is all the way there, and they're intact. Also, you want to make sure your drive shaft is connected and it's not loose as well. At the same time, you're checking the frame of the bus, just visually inspecting it for any cracks. You're going to go down and check the inside tire on the other side for any bulges or cracks, and the differential. As well as also now you're going to check your tire pressure on this side, your leaf springs, front and back as well. You're checking for any rocks in between the tires, and you're checking your mud flap. You're going to be checking the tread depth on both the tires. You're checking the exterior wall for any bulges or cracks. The rim condition, no cracks on it. All your lug nuts are secured. The hub, there are no leaks around it. And you're checking your valve stem, which is right there, which is for one, and the other one would be in there. And while you're at the back here, you're going to lift the mud flap. You're checking the brake line on the inside of the tire there are no leaks, as well as you're checking the inside of the tire for any bulges or cracks from this side. As well as you're also checking your shock absorber to make sure there are no leaks. Visually check the damage for this side. Okay, we're going to make sure the lights are working, up, top, and down. And then you're going to go here and make sure the strobe works. Once you're sure it's working, you're going to proceed here. Make sure your 3 clearance lights works. Your school bus sign is visible. The alternating reds are visible. Your brake lights are working as well, all 4. As you remember, you have secured the brake with the snow broom. Your hazard lights are working. You're making sure the license plate light is on, the fleet sticker is on, and it has a license plate. You're going to open the door at this point and make sure there are no leaks on the floor that could have occurred from the heaters. The buzzers going off, as well as your seal around the door is good, as you do not need exhaust fumes going into the bus. You're going to close the door and make sure the tailpipe is secured. You're going to proceed to this side of the bus. Make sure your lights are working, your clearance lights. Make sure there's no damage on this side of the bus as well. And when you come to the rear wheel, you're going to bend down, pull this mud flap at the back. We're going to be checking the brake lines now on the opposite tire, on the opposite side of the rear tire, and there are no leaks around it, as well as also you're checking the inside tire for any bulges or cracks, and you're checking your shock absorber as well on the opposite side to make sure there are no leaks. So checking your mud flap, you're going to be checking your springs, your tire pressure, and you want to check for any rocks in between your tires. You're going to be checking the tread depth, the exterior wall of the tire for any bulges or cracks, the inside, the rim of the, making sure no cracks on it. You're checking your lug nuts to make sure they are firm. You're checking the hub for any leaks, and the valve stem, which is one, and you have the other one which is right across. While you proceed, you're making sure again no damage on the center of the bus. You're going to check your light on top, make sure that's working. As well as now you're going to check under the bus on this side for the exhaust pipe. That's your exhaust pipe. It's secured and there are no exhaust leaks. And while you come here, you're making sure your hazard light is working as well. You're going to make sure your fuel cap is nice and secure. You're going to proceed now into the bus. Now that we have completed our exterior inspection, we are going to be turning off a few sets of lights. We are going to start with the hazards. You're also going to cancel the alternating reds at this point. You can do that by closing the door. You're also going to cancel your brake lights. and then you're going to cancel your strobe light. And you're going to activate your left signal. You make sure it's working in the front when you see it in the crossover mirror. And if you look into the side mirror, you can see it working on the side. You're now going to activate your alternating flashers, the yellow flashers. So when you turn it on, you can see it operating on both sides of the bus through the crossover mirror. I'm going to be checking the interior of the bus at this point. I'm going to check the seat backs. So you check it, and then you're going to check the emergency exit window. You're going to open it 90 degrees and make sure the buzzer goes off. Secure it. We got one more emergency exit this side, 90 degrees, and the buzzer goes off as well. We're going to continue with the seat, and we have another emergency exit. So 90 degrees as well as the buzzer goes off. And we have one more this side. Opens 90 degrees and the buzzer goes off. We're going to continue with the seat backs. At this point at the back, we're going to be opening the door and making sure our lights are working, which would be our tail lights, your left signal, your alternating amber on both sides, as well as your tail lights on this side. Then you're going to close the door, and you're going to go forward, and you're going to check your seat cushions. This is very important, as should you get stopped and one seat is loose, and DOT would give you a $1,200 ticket. So you want to make sure the seat cushions are secured. Then you're going to switch the signal over to the right. We're going to check the ceiling of the bus for any loose rivets. Make sure you don't have any loose rivets. As well as the roof hatch. You want to make sure the buzzer goes off. You're going to check the ceiling again for any loose rivets. And when you go back, you're going to open the door, and at this point, make sure your right signal works. You're going to close the door, and while you come forward, you're going to be checking for housekeeping and making sure the bus is nice and clean. When you come back down, you're going to check all the switches. Okay, we are going to check our heaters at this point. Midship heater.